sorry, Professor.
Everyone's sorry.
I know it's not easy to lose someone you care about. Alistair told me many stories about the misadventures the two of you had over the years. I remembered the story he told me about the time you tried to build a cooking pot that was on an automatic timer.
I remember that. I remember I left it going over the fire, completely confident that it would work. We left it going while we sat in my office with a bottle of brandy. The damn thing caught fire because the clock didn't even start the countdown. The stopwatch toggle I infused on it didn't even function. We didn't know anything was wrong until the groundskeeper came running in and screaming and shouting.
I remember I met Alistair at a protest rally years ago. He wasn't dean at the time. He was a sociology professor. He brought his class to this rally so they could witness how people behave in crowds and smaller groups. I was there disguised as press, trying to gain some intel on what was happening. I remember I interviewed him. He seemed so idealistic and headstrong, but he was very straightforward and understanding.
Yeah, he didn't always make the best choices, but he was the best friend I've ever had.
How's your friend, Dr. Tordill?
I think he just needs a little time to himself, but he seems all right.
Well, I'm glad he's okay.
I wanted to say thank you for saving us.
Glad I was able to help.
I do have to ask, though, how are you able to get into the castle with enough time to disguise yourself as a soldier?
Trade secrets.
You do this sort of thing for a living?
I don't wish to seem rude, but I'd rather not talk about it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to...
It's quite alright, miss. You didn't know.
So, your name is Garnock. Does that have a meaning in your language?
In your tongue, it would translate as dwells by the arbitrary river. What about you? Does your name have a meaning in your language?
Emily? Oh, I don't really know what it means.
Is that so? No one from your land keeps the knowledge of your people preserved?
Oh, no, I'm not really sure where I'm from. I don't even know how exactly I got here in Skynetessa. It almost feels like I'm dreaming.
Sometimes I wish I was dreaming. You have no idea how much I would love to wake up from this.
Why do you say that?
I've done things. Things I may never find forgiveness for.
What do you mean?
I wasn't always with Keisha, you know. I used to work for Kerwin. I was paid to kill people that Kerwin wanted to erase. The only thing I've ever been good at, infiltration and killing.
Oh my.
To some people, killing gets easier the more you do it. To me, it was easy to begin with. It didn't become difficult until I actually spoke with the target before I eliminated him.
Really?
He was an old man, a company man. He knew I was coming for him. He heard me approaching him from the shadows. I'll never forget what he said to me.
I don't know who you are, but I am glad you've come to extinguish me. It wasn't until the closing of my life that I realized the value of something so beautiful, so delicate as life. I was a man who took what he wanted regardless of who it hurt or who it hindered, all for my own gain. And where did it get me in the end? Believe me, stranger, this death you bring me is well deserved. Just please remember this one thing. Don't let this way of life become you. Don't wait until the end like I did to see the folly of our ways.
Those words planted a seed in my soul, and over the next few targets I had to kill, those words began to haunt me, I couldn't sleep. Each time I was about to pull the trigger or plunge my dagger into them. It was like that person's life would flash before my eyes. I would see their joy, their pain, their memories, their regrets. These simple targets became people, regardless of how they lived.
Well, what did you do?
I went to Carwin in private and told him that I was done killing. He thought I had gone mad, of course. I was his most prized killing machine that he knew he could rely on. As you probably figure, he sent men to silence me. But you can't kill a trained ghost, can you?
Oh, I suppose not.
I sought out Keisha with intent to use my skills to bring a justice to the city that Carwin will not. I vowed even to Iola that I would only use my weapons to help people. The way I see it, every time I use my weapons to end a fight without killing is a new chance I'm giving that person to change their ways.
No offense, sir, but it seems to me that sparing their lives is more for you than it is for them.
In the end, I suppose you're right. I appreciate your honesty. It's a dying trait in this world, and it's always a relief to see someone still carrying it.
Your friend Dr. Tordill is in the tent. He'll be all right. He just needs some time alone.
Thank you.
Garnock, how have our men progressed so far?
I brought word to them last night about the location of Tordill's device. As of this morning, they've snuck it off the college grounds and are keeping it secure at one of our safe houses.
Which one?
South Guel District.
Our main headquarters.
It's the closest underground site we have to the city walls. I already have my men collecting the materials from Tordill's blueprint.
Good. We'll need to get moving then. After today's humiliation, Carwin will be at his best hunting us down.
You won't be leaving without me, I hope.
Of course not, Professor. After all, it would seem that you're the only hope for us all.
What do you mean?
We're going to need you to complete your drilling machine, Dr. Tordill. I have my men getting you the parts you need from Carwin's private tech yards.
How did you...
Trust me, Doctor. If I told you how Keisha worked, it would take all the fun out of it. What's important is that you finish the machine so we have our way out of the city.
You're still going through with Alistair's agreement?
It wouldn't honor his sacrifice if we didn't. Besides, with what we did today, Carwin's going to unleash hell in order to find us. The city's no longer safe.
I thought you said no one's been outside of the city before.
Well then, I suppose we'll be the first.
I always knew you'd pull my sorry hide out of the dungeon when you thought you needed me, eh, General?
Well, you thought correctly. There was an incident this morning, if you haven't heard. We had and lost one of your comrades during what was supposed to be an execution. Where would they go?
You lost him! I bet the public humiliation was bloody beautiful, too.
Enough with your insolent tone. Answer the damned question.
We have several safe houses all over this city, but I guess you knew that, didn't you?
Stubborn bastard, isn't he, my brother?
Indeed.
Perhaps I could use this scalpel here and carve the truth out of him.
If I told you, my use to you would expire.
It's expiring already.
I promise, though, if you tell me, I will make sure your death is as quick as possible. Otherwise, I could just let you bleed out.
South Guel District. That's the main headquarters. It doesn't matter if you know. If this incident is as high profile as it sounds like, then I can guarantee they'll be cleared out by the time you arrive.
Thank you. Ren, I believe you know how to make this quick.
Indeed I do.